Well, we started off our first week in our Empty series and just wanted to follow up with the thought for you today as we think about this week, staying full of God and all that He has for us. You know, if there was just one thing, all of us in our life have one thing that we desire to change. You know, we think in our minds, if I just had this one thing, if this one area was better in my life, if this one part of my life was changed. And you know, the problem with that is if we're not careful, we begin to pursue the one thing. If we could just, even sometimes in our prayer life, if we could just get God to help us in this area, and we pursue that one thing for our life, and we fail to realize that that becomes the focus of our attention. That becomes the thing that we're going after. That becomes the thing that we're pursuing. And here's the thing with that. You know, really what we need is to pursue God. What we really need is more of God. God working in our lives to a greater level and a greater degree. And when He works at a greater degree in our life, then that helps change that one thing in our life. We just have to be sure we don't get those things backwards. Sometimes when we pursue things outside of God, we can get full of that and it causes us to be empty of God. But if we can stay full of God, then because of that overflow, because of that fullness in our life, then God is able to help us change. He's able to help us be different in life, to rearrange things that need to be fixed in our lives. And so, you know, you have to want more of God. It starts with a desire. It starts with a pursuit to want to be full of God, to want to be full of what He has for us. And, you know, David said it so well in Psalms 27 and verse 8. And this is what it says in verse 8. You have said, seek my face and require my presence as your vital need. And then he responds to that. So he's saying, God, you're saying that the most important thing for me to seek is you, to be in your presence, to be focused on you. And then David responds, my heart says to you, God, your face, your presence, Lord, will I seek, will I require of necessity. You know, we've got to recognize that. We've got to recognize that pursuing things outside of God begin to drain our life, but when we truly seek His face, when we truly seek His presence, and we truly want to be with God, then God is able to fill us with who He is. You know, David had it right. David knew exactly what it was that he needed to go after. David was a man that pursued God, pursued the heart of God, and he killed the lion, he killed the bear, he killed the Goliath, the giant. He was able to fulfill the call that God had on his life. He was anointed by God, he was chosen by God to be king. How was he able to accomplish all those things? How was he able to pursue all of those things in life? He figured out what was missing. He figured out what he needed to be full of. He figured out, man, if I have the fullness of God's presence in my life, then I can accomplish great things. And, you know, maybe you haven't experienced God in that way. Let me just encourage you. Maybe you haven't, if you were to ask yourself, maybe you'd say, you know, I don't know that I've ever sensed the fullness of God. I don't know that I've ever sensed His presence in the way you're talking about there. And I just want to encourage you that, you know, God doesn't ask for all of our time. God recognizes that we've got things we need in our life. God recognizes that we need entertainment, and He recognizes that we have physical things that we need to do, and emotional things, and relational things, and intellectual things that need to happen in our life. And God's not asking for us to give all of those things to Him, but He is asking to be first. He is asking to be the thing that we look to first, that we seek with everything that is within us. Otherwise, we end up empty of God, empty of what He has for us. And so to be full of God means to be with Him, to be focused on Him. The results sometimes don't show up immediately. Your life doesn't change overnight. Maybe you don't even really sense that anything's changed in your life. You don't really sense His presence. But over a process of time, if we keep pursuing Him, if we keep putting Him first, to be full of God means to seek Him and to continue to seek Him. So today I just want to encourage you, don't let it just be a mental thing. Don't let it just be words that you hear, oh yeah, I need to seek God. Let it be a catalyst in you to truly pursue Him, to truly require as a necessity in your life, to be full of God, to be full of His presence, so that you can accomplish great things in your life. God bless you. We believe in you. Have a great week.